It is Jade Ashley. It is Jade Ashley. It is your girl Jade Ashley, and I want to welcome you back to a new video of When the Beat Drops. And like always, you know I'm here to give you my 5 hottest beats. In music of this week. So of course, you know you gotta stay tuned for more. Hey guys, it's your girl Jade Ashley, and I want to welcome you back to an all new video of When the Beat Drops. I know it's been a very, very long time, but it is a special occasion. I am here to celebrate 10 years of When the Beat Drops. So of course, you know you gotta stay tuned to hear my 5 hottest beats in music of this week. Oh my gosh, guys, so I cannot believe that I'm actually sitting in front of my camera with my whole setup to do a video When the Beat Drops. It's literally been like a year. Like, I feel like the last When the Beat Drops video was last year in May of 2023. And right now, as I'm recording this, it is August 30th, 2024, which means on this day, 10 years ago, was the first video of When the Beat Drops that was ever uploaded to YouTube. And honestly, I cannot believe that it's been 10 years. First of all, I'm happy that I even remembered. Like, I literally said to myself, this shit makes 10 years since When the Beat Drops. And I know I haven't done it. I'll discuss that after the fact. But I just felt like it was only right that I came back, did my whole little setup, brung back the When the Beat Drops vibes for those, you know, who care, and, you know, just commemorate 10 years. I think starting When the Beat Drops, I didn't think it would be something to where I can celebrate 10 years. So, yeah, I'm ready to get into these 5 hot beats. Now, usually, you know, when I do When the Beat Drops, I do kind of like, you know, the hottest topics in music of that particular week. But for this one, I wanted to do something different. And what I did was I went back to the very first video of When the Beat Drops, and I wanted to see what were my 5 hottest beats of that particular week. And I wanted to do an update of all of those people or all of those topics and stuff like that, and see, you know, how that situation or how those people developed or whatever 10 years later. So we're just gonna dive in to not the 5 hottest beats of the week, but I guess the 5 hottest beats of the decade, if you want to call it that. So let's just get into the first one. So the very first beat that I ever did on When the Beat Drops was the 2014 VMAs, okay? So 10 years ago, and I had to watch the whole video. When I watched the video, I just want to say thank God for 10 years, because it was very much cringe. Just my whole setup, I was in my room in Flatbush. I had my pink walls. You saw my posters on the wall, and I was just yapping. I mean, good thing I started it and it developed into something else. But looking back on it, when I say it was like such a cringe moment for me just to watch that 10 years later, I was like, wow, thank God for development. But needless to say, 2014 VMAs was my very first beat on When the Beat Drops. And going back, I didn't like the award show, pretty much. I thought the award show was whack, and I just kind of said my favorite part. That was the year that Beyonce got the Video Vanguard Award, and that was my favorite moment of the show. Long story short. Now, fast forward to 2024, the VMAs for this year, it hasn't happened yet. I believe the VMAs for this year is going to be on September 11th. It was originally supposed to be September 10th, but this is an election year, and there is a presidential debate that's scheduled for that day. So they pushed it up, or they moved it to another day, which was like one day, basically to accommodate with that whole presidential debate. So yeah, so I think before I get into the details of this year's award show, I did want to kind of like share my own personal VMA experience. I did not think 10 years ago that, you know, at some point within these years that I would have the chance to attend the VMAs. So back in 2022, I actually had the chance to attend the VMAs. You guys know that right now I do work for the Shade Room. So in 2022, I did social coverage. So I was on the VMAs carpet. You know, I was, you know, getting content and stuff for the celebrities and whatnot. And I also attended the actual show. That was the first year that Nicki Minaj had hosted. She hosted in 2022, and then she hosted last year in 2023. So, I mean, just being in that, it was a really great experience. I've been on plenty of carpets throughout the years and stuff like that, but that was my first time ever being on the VMAs carpet, because you know the VMAs is definitely one of the biggest award shows, you know, each and every year. You know, it's a variety of genres that's being celebrated, so it's, you know, it's just different walks, you know, within entertainment and music and stuff that comes together. So just that experience alone was pretty dope to, you know, kind of do and, you know, experience or whatever the case may be. But in terms of this year's VMAs, I'm not really, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention or like really get too married to, or really, you know, was really invested in terms of like the nominees. So instead of just reading off the nominees like I would usually do when I talk about award shows, I figured I would just tell you the categories I care about and who I want to win and just keep it as simple as that. So I wrote down, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories that I care about, and I just chose my winner, and hopefully these people win. We just gonna leave it at that. So for video of the year, I am hoping that SZA Snooze, and I can't believe, like, not to say I don't think that SZA shouldn't be like nominated, but we're in 2024, like, is it not time to kind of like let stuff for that album rest? I guess not if it's still on the radio. But yeah, so for video of the year, I want SZA to win for Snooze. For artist of the year, based out of the categories or the nominees for this, I want SZA to win. Song of the year, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. These are the moments that I miss doing When the Beat Drops, because it's been like a whole situation that's been going on all year when it comes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar. But I said I want Kendrick Lamar to win Song of the Year for Not Like Us, just because I think it's an art for somebody to do a diss record and then for it to, like, you know, do numbers. And Drake, he's experienced, you know, one of his diss records doing that. I think he got a Grammy for a different diss record when he was beefing with Meek or whatever. So yeah, I just feel like Not Like Us has to win. If it's Not Like Us, then it has to be Beyonce, Texas Hold'em. But I really feel like Not Like Us should definitely be that song of the year for sure. Best collaboration, I feel like the only right option in terms of the nominees is Drake, SZA, and Sexy Red with Rich Baby Daddy. Like, okay. And best hip hop, I feel like Gunna definitely is. And I think what it is, like with their hip hop and R&B categories, instead of like choosing an artist, is like based on songs. So I said for best hip hop, I want Gunna Fuck You Mean to win, just because I feel like Gunna, he had a really strong comeback. He was tied up in that whole YSL trial. You know, people was calling him a rat, a snitch. Certain people was turning their back on him. He got released and he dropped music, and it's literally been fire for him. He went on a tour and everything. So I definitely feel like Gunna is deserving of winning best hip hop. And best R&B, I feel like Victoria Monet, On My Mama, should win. And one reason why I want Victoria Monet to win, obviously because she's a dope artist, she's a dope singer, she's a dope lyricist, dope performer, just all around. I love me some Victoria Monet. But one of the main reasons why I want her to win Best R&B is because at last year's VMAs, she didn't perform. She addressed the situation online because she was like, oh, you know, thank you for the love and everything. But I was told by the people from the VMAs, that whole people, that it wasn't my time. And literally it's been up and up ever since. And, you know, and granted, it was her time last year because people wanted to know why she wasn't performing. But here they are nominating her, you know, for best R&B. So I just want her to win. I want her to go on stage, and I want her to basically tell them off on their stage. So those are my predictions, and that's what I want to happen for this year's 2024 VMAs. 10 years, you know, after the 2014 VMAs. So moving on to my next beat, I want to talk about, so this was a controversial topic 10 years ago, and I actually had to look up the video to kind of like refresh my memory. So 10 years ago, Karrueche Tran was getting dragged up and down the internet because while she was guest hosting on 106 in Park, she was reading memes in relation to the 2014 VMAs, and one of the memes she read, it came for Blue Ivy's hair.
I really did wake up like this because my parents never combed my hair.
I can't.
Sorry, Blue.
So I'm sure you guys probably remember that moment. If you didn't, definitely pause and look it up, because I was like, damn. And yeah, so Karrueche went through hell, Beehive, everyone was telling her off. And basically, long story short, BET had to do a whole bunch of like apologizing and statements. And then she released a statement and apologized. And, you know, she said, I was just reading the lines that I was giving. And I mean, she's been reading lines that she was given all, you know, for the past 10 years because she's an actress now. Literally, Karrueche has succeeded at acting. She was on one of my favorite shows, Claws, and she did a really, really good job on Claws. I believe she has an Emmy now. I don't know all of her work in terms of like her acting career, but she is a successful actress. So in terms of reading lines, Karrueche has been reading lines for the past 10 years and she's doing a damn good job at it. So shout out to Karrueche for that. I thought another thing looking back on that, I think now having more experience in media, having more experience, you know, being given lines and stuff like that, being more diverse in social media. I think social media has just developed a lot over the 10 years. But, you know, if being presented with that same situation that she was put in on 106 Apart 10 years later, I would have been like, I'm not reading that. Like, I would have went off script, because what happens is the people behind the scenes, they don't catch flack. We don't know who wrote that script 10 years later. We just know who said it. So I would have been like, yeah, no, I'm not saying that. And maybe it would have thrown off what was going on camera. I don't know. But I know my neck would have been on the line. I would have been the one that was getting the flack for it. So me personally, I wouldn't have did it. And then a lot of the times, you know, you get the script ahead of time before, you know, the camera starts. So I feel like, and I don't know what their process was in that particular day, but even before the show started, I would have been like, take that out, take that out, take that out. But yeah, that's the type of drama that was going on 10 years ago. And yeah, you know, things are way worse nowadays. Okay, guys, so let's get into my third beat on my third topic from 10 years ago in terms of update wise. And that was pretty much Nicki Minaj. So at that time, I was just pretty much giving Nicki her flowers, bigging her up. She had a lot going on at that moment in time. So in the video, I had mentioned that Jessie J had released her music video for Bang Bang, which featured Nicki Minaj and Ariana Grande. And I think since then that record has gone diamond, if I'm not mistaken. And she also was in Usher's music video for She Came to Give It To You. And then also I mentioned the success of Anaconda. And pretty much 10 years later, Nicki's still killing the game. Like, it's literally just that simple. So she just finished like the first US leg of her or she just finished the first leg of her Pink Friday 2 tour, which was in support of her Pink Friday 2 album, which came out towards the end of last year. I actually went to the tour back in May and I literally enjoyed myself. That was my first ever Nicki Minaj concert. I like temporarily lost my voice. I was screaming. I had a good time. And she does have the second leg of the tour that is starting soon. And I believe she has Tyga, Bia, and someone else that's joining her on tour this time around. The first part of the tour, she had Monica join her. And then, you know, when she would go to like, you know, different cities and stuff, she would have like artists from that city, you know, come out and perform. So successful. So literally, long story short, 10 years later, Nicki's still killing the game. This time she's married, she has a kid, but you know, she's still the queen of rap. Long story short. After Nicki Minaj, I talked about Chris Brown, and at that time, Chris was killing the game, and he's still killing the game 10 years later. Back then, I had mentioned that he was preparing to drop his album X, which means that the 10-year anniversary of X is here as well, or is about to happen in September. And I was speaking of my excitement for that album. I had pre-ordered the album, and I remember when the album came out too, actually. So yeah, I talked about that album, and I just pretty much talked about, you know, the different successes and stuff that Chris had at that moment in time. I mentioned that he was honored by Vivo for having like the most views or something, and it was also like a lot of controversy surrounding Chris at that time. I believe, thinking back, because I was in college when I did that video, I want to say that was around the time, like maybe after he got released from jail, because I do remember Chris being in jail when I was in college. So that was probably like after he was released in jail, I don't know. I mean, there's been controversy, you know, over the years. Chris will be quiet, you know, keeps to himself or whatever. Drop albums, go on tour, and that's literally what he's still doing 10 years later. His latest album, 1111, has been, you know, his album for this year, and he's currently still on tour, his 1111 tour. That was also another tour that I went to. I went to the 1111 tour in Brooklyn back in June, and I absolutely loved it. That was my first Chris Brown concert, actually. I was like, this is the year that I actually went to concerts. So, but yeah, I went to the 1111 tour this year, and that was my first ever Chris Brown concert. I enjoyed myself, sung to the top of my lungs, was losing my cool every time he was performing one of my favorite songs. So shout out to Chris Brown. 10 years later, still persevering, still dropping new music, still on tour, and still, you know, one of the top selling artists. So yeah. And my last beat for that first video, I spoke about Luke James. So I love Luke James, and I was definitely in love with Luke James at that time in terms of his artistry, and I was real adamant talking about, like, you know, real R&B artists, real R&B singers. So at that time, Luke was preparing to release his debut self-titled album, and I had mentioned that he released the official track listing as well as the official album cover, and I kind of like just went through the track listing, and I do remember getting that album, and I do remember listening to that when I was in school. So I was a woman of my word at that point in time, and I stuck through and supported Luke when it came to his music. But fast forwarding 10 years later, I don't know too much about what Luke is doing musically. Not to say that he isn't a musician. He still sing down, okay? He still sing down, but Luke is really in his acting bag. I feel like what kind of kick-started, you know, his success in acting was when he portrayed Johnny Gill in the New Edition story on BET, and then after that, he's just literally been killing it. So he's on one of my favorite shows, The Chi. I will admit, though, I have not seen this latest season. I've been wrapped up in my books, whatever. But, you know, he's one of the main characters on The Chi. I was hearing a lot of good things about him on season 2 of Them for Amazon Prime. You know, a lot of people gave him his props for his acting chops. He's just literally just been killing it. Like, I think if anything within this past 10 years has shown his versatility and shown that it's not just, you know, music with him. He was on one of my favorite shows prior to The Chi, which was Star, Justice for Star. Lee Daniels, you keep talking about we get in the movie. Let's come on. We need that to come on. But yeah, Luke he's developed overall, you know, just more than music within the past 10 years. So shout outs to him, to even still be relevant 10 years later. So kudos to him. Kudos to Luke James. So yeah. Okay, guys. So those were my 5 hottest beats of the week 10 years ago. And that's the update of all of those topics 10 years later. Like I mentioned before, I don't even know where 10 years went. I didn't know that, you know, When It Beat Drops would be something I was so consistent, at least up until last year. Like I said, this is, you know, celebrating 10 years, but this is actually the first video of When It Beat Drops that I actually recorded in the year of 2024. And I mean, there's so many thoughts and, you know, some things that kind of like went into why I just kind of fell back from it. One of the reasons being just like not having a good, consistent like filming space. So when you just don't have like that creative space to create, you just don't want to do it. And then when it comes to not wanting to do it, it's just easy to, like, I don't want to say, honestly, it wasn't easy to fall back, but I think another thing that kind of like played a role outside of, you know, just the struggles of like finding a good, consistent like space to record. I'll be honest with y'all, because y'all know I don't care. It's the numbers. Like I said, I've grown in the media space. I've grown in the social media space. So with that kind of like being the career path that I have been doing all of these years, past 9 years actually for me, I look at numbers. I look at numbers. I'm trained to see what's performing, what's not performing, what's working, what's not working. So, me doing that in my job, I'm taking that and looking at that in terms of like my personal content. So I'm like, damn, I ain't getting no views. Damn, I have 120,000 followers on Instagram, but yet that engagement or that following is not, transpiring into what I love to do when it comes to, my YouTube channel and stuff like that. So, it is discouraging to, feel like you're working and you're putting forth that effort to make content and like no one's seeing you. And I always said that I kind of wish that I can kind of go back to the mindset that I had when I first started doing the beat drops, because when I started doing the beat drops, I wasn't looking at numbers. I didn't care how many people watched it. It was literally, I'm this inspiring, I want to be on camera. I want to be this on-air talent. And at that time, I was in college and they was ignoring me. SUNY Purchase was ignoring me. I'm saying names. I done went to the radio station and couldn't get in contact with anybody. I done emailed the TV station several times. And when I went up to them, they was like, oh yeah, we got your emails, but they never said nothing. So creating with the beat drops gave me that outlet to take these ideas that I had in my head and, just create something that was on my, my own. And, so it was never a numbers thing for me. It was literally just me following my dreams, following my passion, hoping that this platform will help lead me to where I want to be career-wise. Am I there per se? It depends who you ask, how you look at it. I've done some amazing things over the past 10 years, been places, talked to people, interviewed people that I would have never imagined 10 years ago. But yeah, I just feel like the work is not done. So I just think I just kind of got to get back into that mindset of, wanting to reach that dream. Long story short. So does this mean when the beat drops is going to come back? I want that, to be honest, but I just kind of feel like I need a better recording space, creative space to even want to have the urge to do it. And then I think I probably just need to get out of my own head and just be so more consistent about it, because now what it is I've taken away my visibility. But I don't know, maybe celebrating 10 years of When the Beat Drops will kind of just help kickstart, me getting back into my bag and reclaiming my spot when it comes to, my platform and just doing what I love to do, which is music and, chatting with y'all and sharing my, my thoughts and stuff. And yeah, but thank y'all for 10 years. Thank you guys for those who have watched, who've liked, commented, shared throughout the years, who've supported. I appreciate it. If you're watching this video, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I post other things outside of When the Beat Drops when I get the chance to edit and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We might be having a comeback. Y'all can comment and let me know if that's what y'all want. But other than that, I'm going to thank y'all again for tuning in, and I'm going to check y'all later. So, bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.